There's been a storm quietly building over Halas Hall, the kind of storm that doesn't just pass through but leaves behind a new reality. A defensive identity reshaped, a culture reset, a locker room jolted by a new force of nature. And while the talk in Chicago, across sports radio, and deep within Bears Nation has been singularly focused on Cincinnati's veteran sack machine, Trey Hendrickson, his 17.5 sacks last year, his 4 Pro Bowls, his elite motor and leadership presence. The truth is, there's another name echoing in the corridors of Chicago's front office. A younger, fiercer, more long-term solution brewing behind closed doors, and that name is Kayvon Thibodeaux, the New York Giants' explosive edge rusher who's quietly become one of the most disruptive forces in the league despite being just 24 years old. A former number 5 overall pick with all the physical gifts and untapped potential to become not just a situational upgrade, but a foundational pillar for Dennis Allen's ferocious, quarterback-hunting defense. And if you listen closely, not to the analysts, but to the whispers from insiders, the tone in Ryan Poles' voice when asked about building sustainably, and the urgency you sense in Allen's recent comments about molding a young, violent defensive front, you'll realize the Bears might be making a chess move while the rest of the league is still playing checkers, because while Hendrickson would cost premium draft capital and come with a short-term window as he crosses into his 30s, Thibodeaux offers something far more valuable: a decade of dominance, a low-cap hit today, and the rare opportunity to shape a young pass rusher into a true monster within a system that already feels tailored for him. And here's the kicker. While the Giants are tight against the cap and juggling expensive contracts from the Daniel Jones mess to the Brian Burns extension, Thibodeaux might just be available for the right offer, a blend of salary relief, modest draft picks, and perhaps a rotation player or two. And suddenly the impossible becomes realistic, even probable, especially when you consider Thibodeaux's trajectory. 21 sacks in his first 3 seasons, 46 QB hits, 26 tackles for loss, and a sky-high ceiling that's only begun to be scratched. And it's not just the box score either. Look at his 2023 numbers: 11.5 sacks, 16 QB hits, 12 tackles for loss, 4 pass deflections, pure havoc, and all of that at an age where most players are still figuring out how to handle NFL speed. But he's doing it against double teams. In a struggling defense, without a complementary edge presence or consistent scheme stability. And then remember, he missed 5 games in 2024 and still put up 5.5 sacks and 17 QB hits in limited action, showing the kind of pressure efficiency that hints at all-pro upside. And it gets more interesting when you realize his PFF grades actually went up in 2024. Nearly a 70 grade overall and a 72 pass rush grade. Nearly identical pressure numbers on far fewer snaps, meaning the young man is learning, adjusting, evolving in real time. And imagine what Dennis Allen could unlock in him: a defensive architect known for extracting the best from edge rushers like Cameron Jordan and, yes, even Trey Hendrickson himself during their days together in New Orleans. But the difference now is that Allen wouldn't be inheriting a finished product like Hendrickson. He'd be molding a young thoroughbred into the exact prototype this defense needs: tall, long, relentless, and versatile enough to wreck both the run and the pass game. And don't overlook Thibodeaux's frame either. 6'5", 258 pounds. The ideal build for Allen's edge roles, someone who can two-gap, pin his ears back, or drop into shallow coverage if needed. And that's why this isn't just about stats or contracts. It's about fit, system, philosophy, and future. And while Trey Hendrickson would be a splash, Thibodeaux would be a statement. And speaking of contracts, let's get into that. Because while Hendrickson is likely to command $18 to $20 million per year on an extension, fair for his production but heavy for a team that's building for the next decade, Thibodeaux is still on a rookie deal with a 2025 cap hit of just under $10 million, including a $1.1 million base salary and manageable bonuses, meaning the Bears could plug him into the roster today without needing to cut core players or sacrifice flexibility. And even with the club option at $13.5 million next year, that's still below market value for a player trending toward Pro Bowl status, and with nearly $7 million in current cap space and multiple restructure options, the Bears could pull this off today without blinking. And think about the message it would send, not just to the fans, but to the locker room, that this team is done waiting, done recycling veterans on expiring deals, done patching holes and praying for miracles, and instead is ready to build a sustainable, violent top 5 defense to match their ascending young offense. And if that doesn't get you fired up, let's talk trade scenarios, because It turns out the Bears don't have to give up the house to make this happen. In fact, two offers are on the table internally. Both realistic, both calculated, both win-win for both franchises, and the first package. Demarcus Robinson, who's on an expiring deal and can either be cut or provide WR depth for New York, plus defensive lineman Zach Pickens, also on a rookie deal and someone the Giants could flip or develop. And the key pieces: a 2026 second-round pick and a fourth. Enough value for New York to reboot without tying up big money in another extension while giving the Bears their future defensive anchor. And option two? Simpler, cleaner, just the second and the fourth. No players involved, no contract dumps, just draft capital and the clean acquisition of one of the league's brightest edge prospects. And you might think, why would the Giants ever do this? But look deeper. They've already locked in Brian Burns as their top edge. They're still paying Dexter Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Saquon's replacement, and several O-linemen. And the truth is they may simply not want to commit another $80–90 million extension to Thibodeaux in 2026, especially with holes all over the roster and a rebuilding path that requires draft picks and cap relief. So for them, moving off Thibodeaux while getting two valuable picks and freeing up future dollars is not insanity. It's smart business. And for the Bears, it's a calculated strike at the perfect time. Before training camp begins, while Thibodeaux's contract is still light, before his 2025 campaign explodes and his price doubles, before another team jumps the gun and locks him in. And that's why this story, this choice, is so much bigger than just Trey versus Kayvon. It's not just about stats or youth or cost. It's about identity, longevity, team-building philosophy, and the chance to find the next Brian Burns, the next Myles Garrett, the next Max Crosby, before the rest of the league sees it coming. And yes, Hendrickson is elite. Yes, he led the NFL in sacks. Yes, he's a known quantity who could give you 2 to 3 years of strong production. But is that worth the price tag when your young quarterback is about to get paid? When your window is just opening? When you already have veterans like Montez Sweat anchoring one side? Or do you go for the ascending talent, the younger stallion, the player who fits your scheme, your timeline, and your future? And that's the decision Ryan Poles is staring at right now. That's the debate raging behind the scenes, and that's the suspense building in Chicago as we inch closer to the opening whistle of training camp. Will they make the bold play? Will they pull the trigger on the New York pass rusher who could change everything? Or will they stick with the safer, older option and hope that experience outweighs upside? Either way, the Bears are hunting for blood off the edge, and this move, this decision, might be the one that defines the defense for the next decade. So Bears fans, tell me right now in the comments, are you Team K for Kayvon or Team T for Trey? Which trade are you riding with? Package 1 with the player swaps or Package 2 with pure picks? Let your voice be heard, and while you're at it, smash that like button if you can already picture Thibodeaux in navy and orange, breaking down the edge and burying Jared Goff, Jordan Love, and whoever dares line up under center in the NFC North this season. And make sure you subscribe for more breakdowns like this as we enter what might be the most defining summer in the Chicago Bears rebuild in years. And don't forget, we're giving away a Luther Burden jersey to one lucky subscriber, so hit the bell, hit the comments, and remember, while others are staring at the obvious in Trey Hendrickson, the Bears might just be quietly locking eyes on a silent assassin from New York who's ready to make Soldier Field his permanent home. So stay locked in, because this story is far from over. And by the time the pads come on, the Bears might just have a brand new predator coming off the edge.